Hello, my name is Zahra Hasan. I attend St. Mary's Academy as a junior, and today I'm going to be speaking about youth politics and youth engagement in politics. And I know some of you may be wondering, how I got into government and politics, especially as, someone in high school. So I'm going to start by telling you a short story about why I chose government and politics. So when I was 6 years old, my mother was watching something on the TV and, I was curious. So I came downstairs and I asked her what she was watching. And my mother was watching this Harvard commencement speech. And at the time, the woman who was giving the speech was pursuing law and legislation. And though the word legislation was too big for me as a 6 year old, she told me that the woman was a lawyer. And from that moment, as a very impressionable 6 year old, I declared that that was what I was going to become too, and my desired occupation hasn't changed since then. As I grew older, I realized that I really was just that lucky that 6 year old me happened to choose the occupation that really does align with my future and my strengths and interests. And going to school in downtown Portland has really opened my eyes to a lot of politics. I mean, I see crime regularly, homelessness, protests, use of drugs, walkouts, strikes, and like other things of that nature. And so growing up in an environment like this really sets you into like a political environment, especially in such like a political society. Some of you might not be at the voting age yet, neither am I, but I don't think that that should stop any of us from being politically engaged and thinking that you don't make an impact. So 18 to 29-year-olds account for nearly 22% of the voting age population, and as shown by this image from the official government census page, they're also the least interactive voting age demographic. This has been a repeated occurrence since 18-year-olds earned the right to vote with the passage of the 26th Amendment in 1971. So why are teens so politically inactive? The reason why teenagers and young adults tend to be less politically active can stem from four categories. First, preoccupation. Teenagers are busy and young adults even more so. I mean, like with school and college and environments looming over our heads, new environments looming over our heads, it leaves little time to do proper research and that's necessary to get into political involvement. Second, fear of judgment. There are many factors which may determine and alter one's political stance. Location can be a large contributor of that. If you're liberal, then you fit the majority of the political opinions in Portland, where I live. But if you travel 30 minutes in any direction, you quickly see lawn signs turn from blue to red. And another large factor is social influence. I mean, your parents are your biggest influence, especially as a teenager and young adult. You're much more likely to share the same political views as your family. And people who are just starting to figure out their political stance might feel ashamed or embarrassed or speak or not be able to speak out if they know that their opinion doesn't match the majority. And third is political cynicism. Political cynicism refers to a sense of disillusionment, skepticism, or distrust towards the political system and its institutions. Teenagers who are politically cynical often harbor negative feelings or attitudes, believing that politicians are self serving, the system is corrupt, and that their individual efforts or opinions won't make as much of a meaningful impact. This cynicism can stem from a variety of factors, such as like exposure to real or perceived political scandals, a lack of transparency of government actions, or sense that political processes do not matter or do not address the needs and concerns of the public. And finally, arguably the most important is a lack of awareness. The vast majority of teens and even young adults are uneducated on their political world. It can be very arduous as a young adult to have to sift through and figure out things like city council agendas, how to navigate state government pages and legal procedures, and it can even be taxing to have to figure out how to separate personal bias from news outlets to the actual facts of the news. And due to this complicated process, most teenagers tend to look the other way when it comes to politics. So here I've compiled a few reasons about why it's important and pivotal that young adults participate in politics and why it is beneficial to them. First, being influence. I mean, engaging in politics allows youth to actively participate in shaping policies and decisions that directly impact their lives and communities and futures. And representation, and increased youth involvement ensures that diverse perspectives are considered in the political discussions, and that the interests of younger generations are adequately represented in decision-making processes. And by doing this, it also empowers the youth and gives them a voice and a sense of agency, fostering a belief that they can also make a difference and contribute to societal change. Political engagement also provides a platform for advocating and fighting for social justice issues, including equality, human rights, environmental sustainability, and other issues that people may be concerned with. Civic duty, engaging in politics is a fundamental aspect of civic responsibility, and therefore reinforces the idea that active participation in the democratic process is crucial for the well-being of our society. And lastly, global awareness, like political engagement, will always foster an awareness of global issues and interconnectedness, encouraging youth to consider the broader implications of policies and decisions beyond their surroundings. So for my project, in order to combat this issue, I created a website called PDX Future Voters. The website aims to increase political activity for youth by planting all the hard to find, time consuming, not easily explainable parts of politics into one website. This website contains a general glossary overseeing council agenda items, judicial processes, legal items, and what the Portland government can and can't do. Additionally, it includes pages that explain to you who makes up our Portland government, when their terms end, and general information on them and what their role is, as well as a list of handpicked organizations that are wonderful places for those who are starting to look into getting politically involved and starting activism. The website also includes a page that highlights every week's most prominent or eye-catching news from the city council meetings. And through this website, I have seen an increase of political engagement in youth. And not only does it provide a good overall census of the Portland government, but all the glossary terms are applicable to all city governments in the US. So yeah, this is what I made for my project, and thank you for listening.
Again, another great topic. So are you going to all of these meetings weekly, and or are you the one that's uploading the new articles to your website every week?
Both. I'm uploading the articles to my website every week, and all the city council meetings are recorded. So every week I just sit through them, pick out the most important things, the headlines, and then I put the video up on my website.
Awesome. Now, in your high school, how are like the other students that you go to school with? Do you think are they politically active? Are they starting to question how they can be involved in politics, or are you seeing that they are also not so involved?
Portland is such like a diverse area, and I feel like it's in such an interesting like bubble that I feel like it's different the way that I think kids are started in politics a little bit easier, but I do still notice the lack of engagement or interest in politics. And so in my school, the way that we combat that, or the way that I help to, create more political engagement and awareness in our own school, is that like we have these government classes, we have these politics clubs. There's this program in Oregon called Oregon High School Democrats. And so through these methods, it's really easy to help start students in the political process a lot earlier.
Okay. What are your next steps? Like, how are you going to take the work that you've done for your research project and with your website and move forward? Like, I'm excited to hear about your next steps.
So my next steps are starting, first I started in school and I'm taking it outwards. So I started presenting at things like the Symposium like this, and I started presenting at, there's this college called PCC, Portland Community College, where they have this youth ethnic convention, and I'm spreading it outwards into not only Portland, but the greater Oregon as well. And so I hope to, continue the research, maybe expand to a few more cities other than Portland once I get older.
Bravo. Well, thank you very much for coming and presenting and educating all of us. I know that I learned something, and I appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.